Over the past 40 years, the Mitchell and Webster families have combined arable farming operations, including specialist grain crops, and manufacturing and wholesaling bird seed and small animal feed for the domestic market. Their company, Top Flight, is New Zealand's largest producer of bird seed.
The business has got a few elements now, and we've grown a lot from what we were originally. We're now farming over 1,300 hectares cropping, and along with the farming side, which grows crops, winters dairy cows, grows new potatoes, we also have the pet food side of the business, Top Flight Limited, which markets bird and small animal food, including a little bit of dog food, throughout New Zealand as a wholesaler. We grow our sunflowers and canary seed on the farm, as well as wheat and barley, which then get taken through to the Top Flight process. We make mixes for birds, for rabbits and guinea pigs, for rats and mice. We do a number of treats. We market approximately 1,600 tonne of produce throughout New Zealand. The challenges of farming and being in business looking ahead are numerous. The environmental issues are big. We've got some water plan changes that are trying to be instituted at the moment. And here in North Otago we have exceptionally fertile soils with P levels that might be 100, potassium levels that might be well over 100. So we don't need to put very much soil into a waterway to suddenly get over limits that are being installed. So it makes it quite difficult, and it is a very sensitive area. So there's still a lot of work to be done and a lot of understanding to be done. We started with sunflowers in 1975. In the early 80s we moved on to canary seed. All of that was sold either by mail order to bird clubs or through a major New Zealand wholesaler. Then in 1996 Top Flight was born, and we started doing mixes as well as those seeds, which meant we imported white French millet, panicum, and incorporated our wheat and our barley into making mixes for birds. Later we moved on to small animals. By that time, of course, we were supplying a number of pet shops, and now we supply 95% of the pet shops throughout New Zealand. We're looking at growing further, and one of those products is working on wild birds, which is a fast-growing sector of the market. People like their pets, but it's nothing easier than having wild birds in the backyard. We're bringing in product from the UK, which we distribute throughout New Zealand. We've got our own products, and we're also looking at perhaps taking some of that product to Australia to meet the needs over there. Poultry is the new pet, and a lot of people have 3, 4, half a dozen hens in their backyard. We've got a range of products there, including specialist mix that we make, scratch and lay. We've got what we call a poultry pecker, which is a treat for birds, which incorporates grit, seeds and herbs for good poultry health. So there are a number of things there that people are using just like they would for any other pet.
Here we're sowing canary seed, and we're doing it into a minimum till seed bed, and we do that because of our soil type. We've got a very heavy clay soil, and it's very plasticine-y. Doing anything with it in the spring can be quite challenging because it just dries out and goes hard like concrete. So this way we're able to just leave it over the winter and then come in and virtually direct drill into a seed bed that hasn't been cultivated since the beginning of winter. We try and look after our soil structure with the rotation that we use. We are full cropping, so we don't have a pasture phase as such. On our irrigated ground we do have ryegrass in for a year or 18 months, and we're trying to push it out to 18 months just to help that soil structure a bit more. We utilise Excel spreadsheets for planting rotations. You can see what we've done way back 15 years now. I've been using it for quite a while. I run a farm paddock recording software with mapping as well, and I've got about 9 years of data on that. That's got all the costings, all the crops that have gone in, all the sprays and chemicals, fertilisers, and the beauty about that is that we can print out reports of history, gross margins, and do very quick analysis of our production levels of different rocks, and so we can make some robust decisions based on that good data. We all understand what our strengths and weaknesses are as individuals within the business, and so we're trying to focus on everyone's strengths and put that into action through our business. And so Pete, he looks after all our technology stuff and a lot of our arable stuff and a lot of the detail stuff, and I look after managing our people and doing our dairy support stuff and looking at potatoes. The North Otago irrigation scheme came through the downlands in North Otago about 7 years ago. With that has become a really big market for dairy support, whether it be offering grain or silage or grazing, be that grazing of young stock or winter grazing. And so the silage, I suppose, has always been a reasonably big part of our operation. Since we've had irrigation, we have moved to growing quite a bit more silage, and we're growing a bit of maize and a few things which before irrigation we weren't able to. Some of the higher value crops, I guess you could say, that irrigation has allowed us to do. And so we're also wintering a few cows. We wintered just under 3,500 cows this year, and so that's been something pretty new for us, and it can be challenging on some of our soils, and so we're learning a wee bit about that too. But I mean, from a business perspective, it fits well from a cash flow perspective, and it spreads our workload as far as our machinery operations go, and utilises all our labour and all those things. So it does tick a lot of boxes, but at the same time you've got to be aware of what the risks are. We were just looking at a paddock of hybrid rape, which we grow for seed production that's exported back to Europe. It's a high value crop and it forms an important part on our irrigated ground. The cost of water in North Otago requires us to have high value crops. Some crops don't produce the returns that are needed under irrigation, so it's important we have the right crop choice. About 600 hectares of our 1,400 hectares that we farm is irrigated. We're trying to use water efficiently, so we're not trying to overwater and we're not trying to underwater. So it's about utilising our resources in an environmentally responsible way, plus also an economically responsible way. We have put variable rate irrigation on here, so it all starts with an EM map, and that tells you the variability in your soil type. And from that we've done soil tests and correlated that into a water holding capacity map. The lighter areas are the lower areas holding less water, plant available water, and the darker areas are where the more plant available water is, and therefore we can create our zones. We've probably saved 20 to 30% of water last year, and we're only beginning on the project. This year we'll have our zones and our information even better, and we'll have more water savings. So it's as I say, it's a no-brainer.
This program was made with funding from New Zealand On Air.